Okay, so thanks for joining me today on Change by the Minute. So, to start with, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Gustav Hoegen, Dutch citizen that's moved to the UK to pursue my dream of working in the film industry. To be more specific, I do creature effects and my speciality is animatronic design.
Brilliant. And for the benefit of the audience, how did we first connect?
Well, you came to my old studio in Forest Hill to get some advice on an eye mechanism. And I was impressed by that and I thought, let's give her a chance. And then employed you on Star Wars as a trainee, and that's how we met. So our first time we met was in my old Forest Hill studio. Yeah.
And today we're in your new studio.
Absolutely, yeah. Small improvement, but a lot better, yeah.
And I can say it gives a similar vibe, all your tools around, the heads, the posters, all the works in progress. It's great to see, and there's someone who has an interest in creative and bringing things alive. You definitely manage that.
Yes.
And so how do you think you've changed your corner of the world?
If I'm very honest, when I started, I thought it'd make a big impact, but working in the film industry, I've learned it's such a big organism. I don't think a single individual like myself, who's more of a tradesman, makes an enormous impact on the industry itself. So as a making an impact on the industry, I don't know if it's that significant. I might sound really cocky saying that. I think I was a small part of this revival that happened in practical effects, mainly by landing Star Wars through my showreel, reinforcing the fact that practical effects were on the rise again. So I think that I might have a tiny little thing to do with that. It's like minuscule. But no, to say that I was personally responsible for that would just be nonsense. But maybe a tiny bit. So if I would have to pick anything, it would be that. But if I'm very honest, I don't think I have a huge impact. You know, there's people come and go and the industry carries on as it would regardless. If a big producer would pass away, that would make a big impact, or a studio would go bust, that would make a big impact, or Donald Trump decides to lift all the loops in the tax, say, for example, or he wants more people to work in America, that would have a big impact. But somebody like myself, I don't think so.
So what's next?
What's next, as in work-wise?
Work, career, life?
Well, I'm quite happy carrying on as I am now. So what's next is always the pursuit of new jobs, which looks promising for the new year. I think I've sort of found my happy place now, not having to travel to studios, sort of be at their beck and call all the time, because as soon as you commit to, say, working on Star Wars, then just sort of, you know, that's it, that's your life. So yes, carry on the chosen path I'm on now, and long it may last.
Do you see any hurdles in the future?
Oh, there's many. There's obviously keeping the work coming in, which allows me to work from my studio, because obviously I have to earn the money. Other hurdles are that it's extremely busy, so I'm always struggling to find people. I think that's the number one hurdle, because I'm a small company and people will always choose a big production over a person like me. So those are the hurdles.
And what have you seen as the biggest change for the industry this year?
This year, it's hard to tell really. It just seems to just carry on as it always has. There have not been any significant changes. And also, to be honest, I wouldn't say I'm totally isolated here, but I'm a bit more isolated from the whole business. So it's my wife now that sort of tells me the ins and outs.
It's probably interesting that film has had a chance to go back to pre-COVID. You know, it's half a decade on, but yeah. COVID tore a really big hole in the film industry.
Yeah, well, it has totally stabilized, but it starts stabilizing in 2022 already, I think.
But then the actor strikes and the writer strikes.
True. To be honest, I think if I look back over, say, a year ago, it's been in a very healthy position. If anything, it's been booming. If anything has changed compared to COVID, it's definitely that. That it's right back to where it was pre-COVID. It just shows that the UK industry is very healthy, long it may last. So yeah, so far And obviously the big change is the streaming platforms coming in, also generating a lot of work, I have to say. I think it's taken over a bit from motion pictures.
It has changed the landscape of the
Yeah,
studio landscape, shall we
that's
say?
quite a big shift, but that's been steadily happening over the last, what is it, maybe a decade.
I would say, because it was just, Netflix was just becoming a big contender when I first started. And
Yeah,
it's about...
they moved very quickly, I have to say. So that is a huge change to the industry. And I think we all worked on Netflix productions or Disney Plus productions. So that's definitely the biggest shift, I would say.
So now we move on to some slightly different questions, not all career-based. What is the change you most want to see in the world?
In the world, again, it's from a very personal perspective. I'd like the UK to join the EU again because it's just crippling. I wouldn't say it cripples my small business, but it definitely has made my life infinitely more difficult. You can lose clients just based on the fact that now building something means you have to export it, which means they have to pay 20% in tariffs, which wasn't the case. Shipping has become infinitely more complicated, just everything. If you want to do production in Europe, it comes with so many complications. So it's been, in my opinion, just a huge mistake. You have this amazing trading block right on your doorstep. And what do? You decide to step away from, which is beyond, I still can't believe it. And don't get me going because I get very passionate about it. So if anything, I don't know if they can reverse it somehow. That will probably take decades again.
A reunion of sorts, at least, to allow the trade that we had, the travel. There was so many benefits.
It was so easy. I did productions with Europe pre-Brexit. And honestly, the shipping, everything, it was not even an issue. It was 2 emails. Now, my goodness, the process can take weeks, and you have to request forms from the HMRC. It's a back and forth. It's, we need this number, we need this, and the cost has quadrupled just for shipping. And I had so many shock clients that said, oh my God, it's been held in customs. I got to pay 16,000 to release it. I'm saying, look, although you warn them, they still, now it's sort of settling in a bit. But no, it's been a complete disaster. And I think not just in my industry, but in the music industry, if you are a small business and you had a lot of clients in Europe, you might as well just say bye-bye to your business. Because
or find a way to move out there.
Well, the most ironic thing I heard was when, say, food exporters, say, for example, they said, our warehouse, we can't get rid of our stuff. And then Boris Johnson said, don't you hire a warehouse in the Netherlands? And they're part of the EU and it might be a bit more streamlined. It's like, well, why didn't you just stay in the EU? Anyway, so yeah, that would be, because again, it's something that affects me daily, and it seems to be most of my clients are European. But yeah, that's always the first thing I mention to clients is, look, do you understand the difficulty once we get to ship it to Europe?
Yeah.
And some people are okay with it. They have an administration in place that can deal with it. And it hasn't been easy, my goodness. Every European production I've done, you're so busy trying to finish the animatronics, but then you also have to deal with the logistics of transportation.
Everything surrounding it.
And that can literally break you when you're already at breaking point.
Well, the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Exactly. So that would be, again, very localized. And it's not a really sort of global politics. Well, I think it is global politics, but that would be my main thing, yeah.
What is something that has changed your mind in the last month?
What is something that's changed my mind? Well, it's something that's been brewing over the last months, really. I haven't changed my mind that drastically over the last month, but it's confirmed my point of view on it, and it's just the work-life balance. I've heard some quite nasty stories about younger, I'm not going to name names, but younger people who are quite dear to me that, in my opinion, have been exploited, as in working ridiculous hours, because the result, or like delivering the item, always seems to have a priority over people's well-being. And I'm very, very much in disagreement with that. I think a good boss or supervisor should regulate that much better. and not allow people to work, say, 36 hours non-stop, which was the case. Which, thank God he was young, so you can take it. But if you have a family, it impacts so many things: your health, your mental health, you name it. So, yeah, that issue is really bothering me at the moment. And also people I speak to that are just completely drained because of the insane demands that are put on them, delivering with ridiculous deadlines. And I don't know if that's the departments just not having a filter on what they allow to come through. It's just an open door and they just got to agree on everything, and people have to mop up the work, basically.
There is definitely a feast and famine mentality within the industry, and it's not just, you know, animatronics or creatures. I've seen it in props, I've seen it in hair and costume. Anything where something physical has to get made, a lot of the time you're fighting against CGI and post-production, and so the art departments or the people who are making those decisions will concede decisions that take time when they know maybe that the time's not there, and the people on the shop floor or the workshops are the ones who have to
they have to bear the brunt
price.
of it. Yeah. And I think that can definitely be regulated. All the excuses people make, I think, should fall on deaf ears, because I've worked on European productions and they are very strict with their working hours, and they make sure that you get ample amount of rest. Who knows? But they're there for a reason. This is not Victorian England anymore. Obviously, people get compensated well. Nevertheless, it doesn't mean you can just completely, is it exploitation? A little bit.
I think, because a lot of it is based on the naivety of young people who are so eager to please and are so grateful for the opportunity that they feel like they can't say no, because there's so many stories of, well, if you say no, someone else will say yes, because of how desirable it is, well, at least from the outside, to work in not just this industry, but a lot of creative industries, fashion, music.
Fashion's even worse. They don't even get paid, I hear.
There's a lot of that around, and hopefully we can start to make a change.
Because I do think the people in charge can definitely make that difference. You can put your foot down and say, look, if you're going this route, it's very unethical. And I've had offers with people, and so many times, oh, we need a animatronic bear, let's go do this, and we're shooting in 3 weeks. And then I keep saying, look, that's a bit tight. But now I go in, look, what you're asking is extremely unethical. So I always get approached by a trainee, or not a trainee, but like an assistant runner, whatever. So I just send that email out. And now I reply, look, what you're demanding is extremely unethical, and it requires people to work ridiculous hours, which is illegal. And then instantly I get approached by the top producer. Apologize. No, we didn't mean, we just wanted to. I'm like, yeah, right, you did. If I would have agreed, you would have gone with it. So check your ethics.
Your word means a lot, just because anyone who looks you up and finds your showroom will see how much of a cornerstone you've been in animatronics in the last...
A bit of a reputation, yeah. But I also think it helps to have a certain position, but I think it also helps holding people accountable for what they're asking. And that can be anybody, because as soon as that gets raised, they go, ooh, are we on dangerous territory? Well, so you can make a stance and look, just use the words, what you're doing is unethical. People will listen. Because the problem is, in the film industry, people just say, yeah. Oh, we need 10 animatronics by next month. They go, yeah. It's just out of fear not to be the one that
says no and
that says no.
And
to be honest, it is very hard to say no, because you're happy to get the work, but in the end of the day, offload it on your crew, and they're not asking for it. They're just there to make a living, and they want to go home and see their family. They're just there to work. They're not there to collect the award. If you're the one in charge and you want to be there with an Oscar, then you should bleed for it, not the other people. That's totally and not offload on people and make it their responsibility. I think that's 100% yours. You choose it, you make it work, not the crew. That's their job. So anyway, so that's my main thing, 100%.
And so what's something that never fails to change your mood for the better?
For the better? This sounds really soppy, but I'd say my kids, definitely, yeah. I have to say that, but I mean that, definitely, yeah. That's always a very strong foundation in that respect. Obviously, they annoy the hell out of me as well, but now I get excited picking them up. It lasts 5 minutes because then they start saying, I want this, and then I get annoyed and I go, I want to go to work. But no, that definitely, would you say it fills you with joy?
It does. I love that. It fills you with joy. Yeah,
Yes,
it never
it does.
fails to change your mood for the better. But
It does change it definitely for the better. Yeah, it's never a negative experience seeing them.
And finally, you touched upon this, but your change of pace question was, what do you think people should know about the work-life balance in the film industry?
It's quite lopsided towards work. You will have to, but that's why it's good when you start young. You definitely have to put the effort in, but don't let them take you for a ride, because they will. And I've heard a few examples as of recent where a very young person had to work, what was it, 3 days in a row, and I go, come on, that's just not right. So
Like the days aren't long enough.
Yeah, and
I remember when I was working with you on Star Wars, it would be, I think, 5 a.m. wake up to get in for 7-ish to the office, and then maybe leaving at 7, depending on if I had a ride or if I had to take the shuttle.
And that's the thing, we're all guilty of it, including myself. I was just so in that big machine where it becomes automatic, and you got to be careful of that, because I was so committed. I go, yeah, I'll do that, without thinking about my own well-being or my own spare time. I think the decades I've been working, it's all earmarked by the particular job I was working on. Not so much by a really amazing life experience, but then I was doing Hitchhikers, then I was doing Star Wars. So it just shows how my life is divided. Some people remember it by amazing experiences, like traveling to different countries. Well, I had my kids, it's a huge experience. But before that, it was all about, I could divide up my time by the jobs I worked on.
Based on projects, milestones based on projects.
And that just shows how all-consuming it is. So, yeah. But it sounds really easy coming from me, because you will have to show that commitment. It's such a double-edged sword, isn't it? You don't show the commitment, you go, I'm not sure. It's just like, bloody hell. But when you come into a bit more influential position, you can definitely advocate for it.
It's nice to know that it is in the mindset of, it's not just you, there's quite a few other people I've spoken to who are now, with the backing of multiple projects and a lifetime's worth of work, to have not just the strength to save something, but also have the power and the social standing for it to be listened to by others who also make the decisions.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yes, thank you so much for speaking.
My pleasure. It wasn't quite 1 minute answers, was it?